Okay. Hi, Implodians. This is Coach Wilson. I am going to do a video today about development. The biggest thing for biggest advantage for white is development and space. Those are the two things that you can get in the beginning of the game. And this is the reason why you want the white pieces, because of these two imbalances. Now, this is mainly for the nationals, the Implodians that are participating in nationals. This video is for you. This is something that's going to be very important for you for this upcoming weekend in Nashville, Tennessee. Development is a big imbalance, a great way to win, especially when you're playing games that are most likely to last over 2 hours. If you have a chance to attack early in the game and get a victory in limited moves, then you get a chance to rest, especially on days like Saturday where you have to play 3 games in one day. It's a very grueling schedule. All right, let's get to it. Our first game we're going to look at. Now, all of these games are from Masters from the Romantic era, where it was considered almost cowardice to not accept the sacrifice. Most of those games were E4, E5 games, but there's some other different there's some different openings and defenses as well. But these Masters were especially good at using a development advantage plus initiative to win games. Now, most of these games don't last long. These are quick victories, and it is from the result for black or white not playing the correct moves to increase their development. A lot of times the development is lagging in these games. Black might not play that well at all, but it takes a special skill to punish black for not developing correctly, and this is what we're going to work on today. All right, the first game we're going to look at is this game here. Started with E4, E5, knight F3, knight F6, bishop C4. So if we notice that white has developed really well, when bishop is on C4, the knight here is on F3. I'm ready to castle one move. Black has 2 moves before he can castle. Now here you notice there is a pawn that's unprotected. Now a lot of kids, I'm going to tell you, when you go and take a pawn, that involves you moving your piece twice. So he did this. So anytime you do something like this, you have to be careful. You have to ask yourself, is it worth it to have your king in the center for at least 2 or sometimes 3 more moves? And as white, we want to be aggressive. We give up this pawn on purpose. We want to be aggressive here. So here's the first attack here, knight C3. We're attacking the piece more times than protected. Now let's see, if we go knight takes, if black goes knight takes C3 and D takes C3, say I try to castle now, and then we have knight takes E5, say we castle, and probably maybe queen F3 looks okay for white, but looks like black might have enough to survive. Okay, but here black did not respond the correct way. Black played knight C5. Okay, and this is going to bring big problems. Knight takes E5. Okay, now I'm attacking the F7 pawn twice here. Here he plays F6, and then the next move is queen H5. Remember the 3 questions. Always look for checks first, attacking a piece more times than protected next, and also third question is attack a piece of greater value. These are questions you should ask yourself before every move when you guys go to the nationals. So that way you can see these attacks, but also you can prevent these attacks that could happen to you. This is a good way to defend yourself as well by asking those questions on the board. All right, so queen h5 check. Here, g6 was played. Bishop to f7, another check. We don't have to move the queen because the king is in check, so the king has to move away. And boom, knight to d5 check. Now we're bringing the king closer to our pieces. Usually if you can ever bring the king out of its hole and closer to our pieces, it's pretty sure it's checkmate going to come. So here I'm going to kind of give you a little moment to guess the next move. All right, so if you have guessed knight to c4, you will be correct. King has to go to c6. Next move is knight to b4, check. King b5. Now you can pause the video and guess this move. Okay, and if you guessed a4, check, that would be right. Note that the knight on c5 cannot take on a4 because it's pinned. So here the king goes to b4. Next is c3 check. Now king b3, and you can pause your videos to find the move here. Yes, queen d1, checkmate. This is a development imbalance victory. Okay, being aggressive when up in development, this is how you win quick games in the opening, especially with the white pieces, because you get to move first. Black is a little harder because you're not moving first, and usually you're trying to catch up in development. Okay, let's look at another game here. So let's go e4. Let's look at this game here. So here, black looks like he wants to develop the queen side here instead of the king side. Now, this is an okay way to play this defense. It's also played by some Implodians, some actual top Implodians like Whispering Stranger. I even think Smooth Wind as well plays this way. Also, Tacky Element as well. But even though you're developing this queen side and it's okay, the reason why it is okay because there is no pawn breaks in order to open the position up to get to black's king just yet. There shouldn't be. And black still has to strive to develop and castle as soon as possible, even though there's a really good plan of bishop to b7 attacking the center pawn here. So after d4, we got bishop b7. This is the first attack on the pawn. He goes bishop d3, protecting the pawn. And here it's a no-no. When your king is in the center, you do not want to give white an opportunity to trade and open up lines in the center of the board, opening up the position. So here, white takes, black takes the pawn on g2 without asking himself the 3 questions. And black figures he's attacking a rook. The rook is not protected. But I'm going to let you pause the video and guess the next move. Okay. If you guessed queen h5, yes, you would be correct. Here, g6 has to be played. He goes f takes g6, knight f6, and then you can pause the video to guess this move. All right. If you guessed G takes H7, you would be right. Now, I will say G2 or G7 check is not the best move, because after knight takes, and even though we get a queen here, black is still in the game, and the game continues. But if you play here g takes h7 check, there's only one way to get out of the check here. Knight takes h5, and then what's the next move? You can pause the video. Okay, if you have seen the move bishop to g6, this is checkmate. Game is over. All right, let's look at another game here. Okay, stay in e4. Let's look at this game. c6, d4, d5. So here white has these two center pawns. He has space. White is closer to castling than black. That's the first move. First move played, helping white to castle. Knight f6 does help black to castle, but the knight can be attacked by the pawn. So knight goes to d7 here. And we want to be aggressive even when we have more pieces out than the opponent. Even though our king is in the center, when you have more pieces out than the opponent, being aggressive like this really, really works. So he takes here, and if you ask your 3 questions, you will know this answer. You can pause the video. All right. If you see queen h5, you would be right. g6, and the fantastic queen takes g6, h takes g6, and bishop takes g6. Checkmate. Crack, crack. This is a phrase we use when we have a development lead. Crack, crack means you must be aggressive and open the position. Crack the egg. And that's what happened here. Maybe the egg or maybe the head, whatever it might be. This is a brutal victory for white. Let's go back. Let's look at another e4 game. Let's look at this one. All right, so here white plays bishop c4. Notice that d6 does not help black castle. Knight d7, and that is really a bad move. It has nothing to do with castling at all. But here we just simply develop. We're one move away from castling. g6, bad move, but he's trying to develop his bishop and get castled now, but it might be too late. Now we have knight takes, or knight and bishop attacking the f7 pawn. Now it looks like you can play e6 and might get away with it, but here he tries to go knight h6 because the knight and king protects the f7 pawn. But if we looked a little further, we would see we have a great move here. You can pause the video and find the move. Okay, here we go. Bishop takes f7. You cannot take with the king. Only could take with the knight. Knight comes in, and then we go to question 3. Attack a piece of greater value. Knight to e6, and the queen has nowhere to go, and we win the queen. All right, what a game. Now if we go back here and we look a little bit further. Okay, we go d6, and here let's look at this game. Here white plays d4, 2 pawns in the center, never a bad thing. Knight d7, that does not help castling. Bishop c4, this is going to help me castle. The bishop is again on this nice diagonal here. g6, we've learned from the last game that that might be too slow. Knight f3, bishop g7, and bam! Bishop takes f7 check. Now, king takes knight g5. Now here, if we go to king f8, you have knight to e6, forks the queen and king. If we go king e8, knight e6, traps the queen. And if we go to king to f6, then you can pause the video and find the best move now. All right, if you said queen to f3, you would be correct. This is checkmate. This is the result of being aggressive when you are up in development. All right. So if we go a little bit further, let's see, do we have any more e4? I'm not sure. I don't think so. e5. Oh, we have this one. Now this is the King's Gambit opening, and it is designed to take advantage of development, plus advantage of Black's greed. Black can take a free pawn, but at the price of giving up development. So here he does this. Here, White goes ahead and develops a knight. d5, attacking a pawn more times to protect it. He plays knight c3, another development move. Take, knight takes, and you see there are two knights here developed, and Black's king is still in the center. Bishop g4, and here White goes queen e2. He's threatening this check along this file. Here Black goes bishop takes f3 and figures, hey, I'm going to take the queen next move, so the check doesn't matter. But here he misses. Boom, the double check and mate. Your king in the center is not a good thing. So when you have more pieces out than your opponent, don't hesitate to attack. That's what it says in our rules. All right. Okay, so we're going to look at this b3 here, move here. And here we see Black come out with a check. So Black, now notice that White played b3. This is a queenside move. Doesn't help my development much. This diagonal is very weak for White, so Black attacked it immediately. Here he goes g3. Black takes that. And here White plays h3, so there's no capture with check. But here we still push with check. Black king comes up. Next move is queen takes e4 check. Black king goes to f2. And you can pause your videos and let's find the answer here that finishes the game. Okay, now if you said G takes H1 knight, you will be correct. If you went G takes H1 and took a queen, you're too greedy. The knight finishes the game. This is one of those situations where you under promote. You don't promote to the most valuable piece like the queen. The abilities of the knight finishes the game, because the knight, which moves in the L shape, checks the king at the same time as promoting. Okay. Now if we go back here to d4. Now we look at, let's see, knight f6. Black develops. That's good. White plays d4, gets space, and then here Black attacks early on the d4 pawn, and he goes and attacks the pawn again. Now this is a little different. White has very far away from developing or castling, which is the #1 move in development, and Black is closer to castling here. So here White plays a very strange move that has nothing to do with castling, a3. Here Black continues to be aggressive. d6 takes d6, bishop takes d6, and Black is one move away from castling. Here White plays g3. White wants to develop the bishop to g2, but a fantastic move occurs. You can pause the video to find this move. Okay, great move here. Knight takes f2. This is attack a piece of greater value. See, if you guys ask those questions and you actually look at the moves on the board, you can find moves like this on mistake, because it will open up possibilities in your mind that you never thought could happen in a chess game or in a position that seems to be so quiet. So knight takes f2. The idea is after king takes f2, nothing protects the queen anymore, and all you need to do is attack the queen. Now your queen can attack the queen if the bishop was moved, and of course we would move it here. Check. Now the king or the pawn could take, and then next queen takes d1. It would be a mistake if we did this check, because the king can actually come back to protect the queen, whereas This check doesn't allow the king to come to e1 to protect the queen because of the bishop's control over the e1 square. Alright, if we go back, let's go back to d4. We go knight f6. Oops, let's go d4. Let's go c5 here. Look at this game. He plays d5, and this weird move, knight a6, has nothing to do with castling. So we want to hurry up and get castled. And here, look at this move here. Knight to e5. Now, the reason why this is a good move after bishop takes d1, now he played queen a5 check, but if we look at bishop takes d1 and then bishop e5, you would get the queen back because of check here. Okay. And then you might even can play knight takes f7 or king takes d1. So that's why that was played. But here, black decides that he's gonna, instead of taking the queen on d1, he's gonna go queen a5 check. Here we go bishop d2, and now he takes the knight. But here he misses this possibility. You can pause the video to find the answer here. Okay, the answer here is bishop takes a5. Okay, and if bishop takes d1, bishop to b5, checkmate. Another example of a development lead and being aggressive. So these games are very short games, and for a reason, because black or white didn't develop correctly, and the Implodian, I hope, would take advantage of the development lead by opening the position and being aggressive. Okay, I'll see you guys at the Nationals. Good luck. Hope you win your sections.
This